every episode, there are things in there that I go, I didn't know that was going to make it. Didn't know that was going to make it.
I tried to do this top button.
I knew we had sour cream and brown sugar.
I really wanted to do the top button.
I think thought you'd be a little risque.
I can't handle it around my neck.
Why don't you unbutton two more?
You wouldn't like that, wouldn't you?
Hell yeah!
Welcome to the Dishes Can Wait podcast. Join us at our table for thoughtful, funny conversations that flow so easily you'll forget to check the time. We hope you feel like a welcomed guest in our home, part of a circle of friends who linger after dinner for the stories, the laughter, and the kind of connection that makes the hours slip away unnoticed. Because the dishes can wait, but good conversation can't.
I am yours and you are mine.
You're about to start singing
I
worship
am
song.
yours as you are mine. Would you like to pray?
Every time. We'll take a moment, though.
I was having a moment. I was sending intentions out for this podcast.
I was, too. I was really distracted, though, and then I wanted to make a joke.
I was thinking, here's what I was thinking of in that moment. I was like saying words, but the picture I had in my head was Allfather Odinson. Allfather Odin.
From Thor?
Yeah. And it's when he's speaking into the hammer. He's speaking to the hammer right before he throws it away from Thor. And he's like, whoever finds this hammer, if may he be worthy, may he be able to possess all of the power of Thor. That's kind of how I was thinking. I was like, man, just let this podcast reach the people that it needs to. And it's kind of the imagery I had in my head right there.
That's lovely.
Odin.
Odenkirk? I think that's somebody's name. That's what came to my head.
Well, they call him Thor Odin's son because he's Odin's son.
I can picture the guy whose
Odin.
last name
It's Anthony Hopkins. He's Odin, who's the All-Father. Which means he's not just the father of Thor, he's the father of basically everybody in Asgard. That's what the ruler means.
Like a metaphorical father. He didn't father all of the children in Asgard, right?
Like the ruler they call the All-Father.
Okay, kind of like our Father who art in heaven.
Kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
Because
he's a god.
He's a deity, yeah, he's a god.
Yeah. Okay. Isn't there one about how they were going to kill all the gods? One of the Marvel movies. It doesn't matter.
That doesn't ring a bell.
I can picture it in my head. There's it doesn't matter. I'll go Google it.
We're going to say yes.
Which, speaking of Googling, I mean, we don't have to start with this, but I did say I'll Google it later, which made me, I did think about one of the options to talk about is how I keep a Google list.
A Google list?
A list of things to Google if I'm not in front of Google.
How often are you not in front of Google?
I mean, kind of right now. I do have my iPad right here that I can just bust it out, but I just love learning things, random bar trivia. So I'm going to look up what's the last thing you Googled?
Last thing I Googled. It probably had to do something with the show I was watching. A lot of the Googles I do are about shows I'm watching.
I have a lot.
I know what I Googled.
Okay.
It was because I was watching Toy Story. Remember? And I was like, how many Toy Stories are there? That's the last thing I Googled.
Okay. I realize, and I think I've talked about this on here before, that I like to know how tall people are. And so if I'm watching something and I just randomly Google, like, how tall is this person? Like, I want to understand their height in the world. So a couple of people I've Googled that about recently. Jean Smart. I wanted to know how tall Jean Smart is. 5'9".
That was close.
Jen Colella, who's a singer and a Broadway musical theater
5'5".
person. There was no information about how tall she is.
So, Jen, if you're out there, how tall are you?
How tall are you? I just like to know, because if I ever meet someone, and I think I've said this before, I want to know where they are,
Right,
where my eyes would go to look at their eyes.
And I only do that for sports figures.
You do that for sport? You look at how tall they are because it's important?
It matters. Yeah, it matters.
Me, it doesn't matter. I just...
Especially for like a sport like
to know.
basketball. I mean, it matters how tall somebody
Oh, well,
is.
basketball. Yeah, that makes sense. If you were a pitcher in baseball, it would make sense.
That's something I've looked up before too.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm only a little bit weird.
About this
pause
topic?
About this topic. Just a little bit. Anyway. Okay. We can move on from that topic. Next.
Leviticus.
I have a quote about Leviticus, not quoting Leviticus, but
You have a quote about Leviticus?
you reminded me of something Bethany said. Bethany's like
In every
an
episode?
yes, she is. She's like an off-camera character
Right.
for this episode.
Maybe we should bring her on sometime.
We should.
Right.
That would be delightful. She said one time she has a fountain pen. We both are fountain pen nerds. And she was like, I got fountain pen ink on my Bible, but it's okay because it was just the book of Leviticus. And I was like, I am writing that down in your file. Thank you very much.
That's okay. It's just Leviticus.
It's okay. It's just Leviticus.
I was thinking of an
Maybe
icebreaker today,
Yeah.
and I went through several, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the ones I kind of was landing on was about like the story of tattoos, not just like the history of tattoos,
Hold on. Let me Google that real quick. The whole history of tattoos.
but which probably started with cattle anyway,
Actually,
and marking yourself as property. That was probably had to do with it. Like I'm going to this anyway.
the history.
That's being added to the Google list.
What was the one I said? Oh, the Marvel movie. Sorry.
Where they kill all the gods.
Yes. Killing the gods. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your brief pause. Continue.
Just, the listeners and viewers may or may not know that we have tattoos. They're not completely visible. My face one is, but your hands are under the table.
Yeah.
And
Your face one.
yeah. My face one is used
do
with invisible ink, and so it's hard to be seen.
Yeah, and we do a whole makeup routine before.
Right, every episode.
So.
To cover my Mike Tyson tattoo. So they may or may not know that we have tattoos. And so I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about the importance of, or the symbolism of tattoos,
And this
or
is
the
your
meaning of
icebreaker?
tattoos. Yeah. Maybe what's your favorite tattoo? Yeah, it's an icebreaker. I'm breaking the ice.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. I will.
What's your relationship with tattoos? Tell me your history and relationship of tattoos before you get into your favorite.
Okay. So tattoos growing up were considered like evil and
Did you have them
demonic.
when you were younger?
Yeah. I got tatted up at a young age.
That's why you were a heathen.
Right. I mean, even having like temporary tattoos was like
Or like a henna.
henna.
Are those different?
I-
They're so different, aren't they?
yeah. They
Hey,
both
scratch that, because I think henna is cultural.
yes.
Okay.
And they're both markings on your skin, and also cultural significance of henna. I will be Googling that later too. Of henna. But no, it was a religious thing of like tattoos are your body is a temple and you want to take care of your temple and you don't want to mark your body because it's God's temple and you don't want to desecrate it. Even though like my papa had a tattoo and I was always like,
Was it a military tattoo you had?
that was.
That felt to be the caveat.
That was the
That was
caveat
like the one
because
exception.
Christian nationalism was also a thread throughout my family of origin, which just means like it was okay because the military was an exception because the military is carrying out God's divine plan throughout the world and blah, blah, blah. That sort of stuff. But I mean, he did say like he regretted it.
Regretted his tat.
Yeah, only because he said when he got older, it looked like crap. Which I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to enjoy them. To me, it's about the story behind it and how you feel when you look at it, or the experience that you have individually, not how it's perceived outwardly.
So you said as a kid, like the mantra and everything that was taught to you was they're kind of evil, don't get them. Did you adopt that yourself as well?
Oh, yeah.
Or were you kind of like, that's weird? Or did you also think like did you know what I mean? Sometimes as a child, you know, your family of origin might tell you things and you're like quick to have that dissonance. Or was this one that you actually kind of embodied for a little while as well?
I didn't have I embodied it because I didn't have my own ideas about tattoos
Makes
already.
sense.
So it was like, okay, that's what I should believe. The line of logic for that way of thinking, for that fundamentalist realm of belief, made sense. Like, oh, your body's a temple, don't mark your temple. If it, like, even
Logic that makes sense.
right.
Except for what do you do with like buildings that do have markings on them?
What do you mean? Like a church?
Like a baseball stadium. Like a baseball stadium might say the name of the field.
But that's not like that's secular. That's not in the realm of.
I mean, I know it is. I'm pointing out the juxtaposition that we're okay with marking of certain things and marking of temples and marking of buildings and things like that, but not okay with our own body.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But that's how.
You're like, what do you mean? That's
I'm
unrelated.
like,
Unrelated. Okay, back to what you're saying. So it's a temple. It's your sanctuary. Don't mark it.
Yeah, and don't mark it up. And it's like, and I mean, there was cognitive dissonance when it came to getting your ears pierced. I was like, so you can't get tattoos, but you can get your ears pierced. And, well, I mean, I wasn't allowed to get my ears pierced until I was 18. And by the time I was 18, I was like, I got a lot going on. I don't want to deal with pierced ears. And so I have virgin ears still. These earlobes have never seen a needle, but my arms sure have. So that didn't make sense.
That feels dark. My ears have, but my arms sure have. Like that. That could be a whole journey.
There was
right
like
there.
a whole, and plus my home of origin was very authoritarian. Just do what I say, not as I do. And so there were a lot of rules and beliefs that didn't make sense just for the sake of control.
So when did that begin to shift for you? Around tattoos specifically?
Around tattoos?
Because at some point you must have come to a different conclusion since you've mentioned you have them. So how did you get to that space? Because you came to that space before deconstruction. So tattoos was before all of that. So
I guess I just never
walk us through it.
I never really had strong convictions about it. And so to me it was kind of fun to think about the idea of putting art on your body. So I was open to it because I didn't have any conviction about it, but I wanted to make sure that it's something that I would have wanted my entire life. And I do have a different idea about that now too. Like, I don't really think about it as like, oh, am I going to want this tattoo when I'm 70 years old? I think about it like a souvenir for a moment in my life. And so my ideas around that have shifted too. So I was like, okay, cool. If I were to get a tattoo, what would I get? And I thought about that for years. Like, I'm trying to do math right now. Until we moved here and I finally got one because I was like, oh, okay.
Is that your first one?
That's
2018?
2019. The very beginning of 2019 was my first tattoo because we had just moved here. And I was like, okay, that's the one I want. And I had even sat on that idea for a long time.
And what was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was this one. It says loved right here on my arm. And I did it. Oh, there's like a whole big long story about this.
There's so many things.
And I was like, this tattoo the idea came from a Bible study that we were in, and we did some evangelism work. And I was, and just like going around and telling people that God loves them, which is beautiful. But it was also proselytizing as well. It can be beautiful without the proselytizing, but it was proselytizing is what we were doing, which means we were evangelizing and trying to get people to convert, which is like, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack there about evangelizing and proselytizing. I think what it boils down to is if you are saying that another person is going to an eternal place of torture because they don't believe in the same divinity that you do, I would call that harmful.
Yeah, you're going there, huh?
So this is a much deeper topic than I anticipated getting into.
I didn't know you were going to go there either.
And I actually wrote about this on Substack, and I can post the links to that whole series that I wrote about very diligently and delicately with a lot of room and space, but also that's harmful. Anyway, but I love the idea of having something represent that there is something bigger than me that loves me and loves humanity and all of creation as a whole, even outside of Christianity. And so I got this tattoo.
Yeah, plus like the concept of like worthy of love, all of that's been stuff that you've struggled with, and like this is I am forever loved. Like,
it's a permanent reminder, like that I am loved by something greater, and that I freaking love myself, which I have worked hard to do. Also, I love saying, just like blatantly, bluntly saying, yeah, I got this tattoo at a Beth Moore conference. Not at a Beth Moore Living Proof Live, but a couple of friends of mine, we went to Beth Moore's Living Proof Live in California, and we said we were going to get tattoos while we were in California. So we found a tattoo shop, and we all got our individual tattoos. And
made it happen.
How
many tattoos do you have now?
I have 5 in total.
5 in total.
Would you like to go, or would you like me to continue the stories of my tattoos, and then you go? How would you like to do this?
I can go in the history of of me for tattoos first. I mean, it was a similar. I would say it was a similar thing that you had. So specifically, like my grandfather. One of my grandfathers was very. Do not mark your body, right? Like, my parents didn't like it, but I don't recall them being like don't do it. But my grandfather was like, don't do it. And it had to do with like, you can't be, he thought like if you had died and you had tattoos, like your body was not pure. You couldn't even be raised from like if Christ came down, like your body still couldn't come because it wasn't a pure vessel. And like,
right. Like you wouldn't be taken away in the rapture because your body was marked with tattoos. Same. Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
And so, although even as a kid, I thought that was hogwash. Mm-hmm. I really did. I thought that was hogwash.
Hogwash. What a great word. I'm looking up the etymology of hogwash.
Even as a young kid, I thought that didn't make any sense. Like the heart of God, it didn't make any sense to me. However, it did still ingrain in me like tattoos are bad. Uh-huh. Even though I thought the reasoning and the justification and the biblical piece of that was weird, it still made me go, I don't know if tattoos are a good thing.
You said the heart of God. What was your idea of the heart of God at that age? And how was it disconnected from this idea of not getting tattoos?
I've always thought the heart of God was love. I've always thought that.
You've always felt that. Was that taught to you, or did you feel that intrinsically regardless of what was taught you externally?
I think I've always thought that intrinsically, that the heart of God was love. And I had to do a massive disconnect and disassociation, compartmentalization with things of the Old Testament. that did not go with that. I've always thought the heart of God was love, because it made no sense to me to have a divinity or a higher power that was anything other than love.
Okay. So the idea of like being damned because you marked your body with something like loved.
I'm not saying like I'm not
Just didn't
going
make sense.
into the idea of damned or hell or anything like that.
But like a lower value of some sort, or like something that goes from here
The
to
fact
here.
that you might not be worthy because of a tattoo didn't make sense to me.
Okay.
That's the way I would word that. The fact that a tattoo would make you unworthy, that made zero sense to me even at that age.
Okay.
But it's still ingrained. Tattoos aren't good. I just didn't know why.
Okay.
Right? I didn't know why. I mean, obviously there's even though I had that dissonance there, it still kind of gave me the cringe and pause when I had to really think about a tattoo on people. Now, other people, it honestly never bothered me, which is so fascinating. It's not like I saw somebody go, wow, I think less of them. That was never the case.
Did it matter the tattoo, the art, the
No.
size? No,
No.
it didn't matter.
Did not matter. Did not matter at all. I thought it might be beautiful and expression, all of that. But then I had this battle within myself that I don't know if that's a healthy thing. It was almost,
Like I don't feel this, but I'm told that I should feel this.
I'm saying it was a constant battle is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a constant battle.
Am I asking too many questions?
I mean, you're not asking too many questions. You're not really letting me kind of explain the thing.
Okay.
But you're doing fine.
Okay.
You're being curious, but I also want to just share a story.
Continue.
So that is how I viewed tattoos for a long time. Honestly, a long time. It wasn't, it's like beautiful, not for me, also not beautiful. I had that balance of beautiful, not beautiful the whole time. Like, this is beautiful what you're doing, but something feels wrong about it. That was the battle.
Okay.
And so, I mean, even when you were talking about your tattoo, right? Like, because you and I said that we would never do that. Like, that was one of the things we said, that we were never, and
You'll see why I'm laughing later on in this conversation.
We said we were never going to have tattoos.
And I remember I was the first one to get one and talking about it, and you're like, you can do whatever you want with your body. It's your body, and I will love you.
Right, but I don't know if I said I like it or I probably did not. But I also remember, I was like, do what you want to do with your body. I'll love you regardless. It's not my favorite thing, or I'd prefer it not, or something like that. But yeah. But it's also not my call.
Yeah.
Right? I've always wanted to try to empower you to do what you think is right for you. But I also remember you coming home after that trip and be like, that's really cute. That works. So that was, I think, kind of the maybe the catalyst for, that was kind of the impetus for the shifting of changes in the sands of the time. That was it.
Things change for you about tattoos, and then you got one.
Oh, we jumped all the way there.
Do we want to? Is that the direction to go? Well, I would like to tell the story before we get into the story behind the tattoo.
Yeah. So I will say that I eventually came to a place after your tattoo. I think you had a couple of tattoos.
Yeah.
By the time what you're, this story, but like, I came to the point that I was like, I would be okay getting one. I was okay getting one. It wasn't like I have to have one. Like, it wasn't like, this needs to happen. Right? It wasn't that. It was more of like I'd be okay with it, but I would never force it. I wasn't going to go get flash art or anything like that. I may do that later on in case people don't know what flash art is. These are like typically smaller designs or pieces that artists have already created, and they're offering it typically at a discounted price because it's already created and they just want to put it on you. So I would never have done anything like that at that point. I would not have searched for flash art. I would not have gone. I wasn't like searching for images. What do I want to do? I wasn't obsessed with tattoos. I was okay getting one, but it had to matter. It had to be very meaningful. And then we had a story. We had something happen in our life. And at that moment I was like, that needs to be our tattoo.
Our tattoo. See, we just jumped a whole lot too. Okay, so I'll tell the story. So
It's okay.
I was, it is. It
You'll
ended up
tell
being-
the story.
And it's my story to
And
tell.
this is the story of which tattoo?
This one right here.
That one right there. Okay.
The one
I
in
was just
Greek.
checking. I wasn't sure.
The one
so.
in Greek. Okay, which I will tell you what it is in a minute. Okay, so but we did decide that it would be a couple's tattoo because it had to do with both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So in my faith deconstruction journey, someone asked me not that long ago, what does faith deconstruction mean? And like, what did it mean for you? And I put it into words.
Loaded question.
Right. And I said, I finally gave myself permission to ask all of the questions I wasn't allowed to ask and I was afraid to ask. And everything. And I have written about this again on Substack. I'll put all the links in all the places. You can go read. One of the things that ended up crossing my path through a series of events, and I'm skipping a lot here.
That's what a series of events are.
Thank you.
Yada, yada, yada.
You yada yada over the best part. Is doing hypnotherapy for soul work. Hypnotherapy for soul work. Mm-hmm. And I did it a couple of times and it ended up, I'm like, a lot of good things happened and came from it, healing a lot of trauma and being a modality I didn't even realize I needed.
Right.
And I was just doing it because I was curious about it. I was like, you know what? Let's just try this out. And the specific hypnotherapy modality is called, I think it's called officially Life Between Lives hypnotherapy. Created, I don't like the word created, but what's the word I'm looking for that scientists put in?
Fabricated, manufactured.
That was systemized. Systemized, I guess is the right word, by this
Conceived.
This guy named Michael Newton. And it's a modality that hypnotherapists get trained in to help you connect with like your soul self. It's painful to me that I do not have time to go in the amount of detail that I really want to go into to express like how intricate this modality is. But for the sake of time and brevity, that's it. So
You can put a couple of links in there.
Yeah, I'll put some links in there in the places. So I go do a past life hypnotherapy regression. And maybe that sounds really woo-woo. Okay. It's kind of woo-woo. Basically to like tap into whatever past life needed to come forward to help me heal through some present trauma that I'm going through in this life.
Well, before you jump into that, even like your very first session, you were hoping to do what you're about to talk about. You were hoping to have some past life experience, right? And you didn't.
I was hoping to have a life between lives experience, which is like, I'm like, this sounds so woo-woo, but we're going with it. Like you go into the spirit world and you are like experience things as your soul self, like not attached to any sort of incarnation, but like yet having learned the lessons from all the various incarnations that your soul has lived over the course of time.
Right. So the reason I was just bringing that up, I thought briefly, was just to state
Nothing
that
is brief with me.
me saying it briefly was basically let everybody know that this thing that we're about to happen didn't happen your first time. You actually left your first one. It was a beautiful, and you ended up doing a lot of inner child healing work, but you were also a little frustrated, honestly. And so I'm just saying that because this wasn't like you go and you crack a pot and
and then you're healed. No,
right,
this is a process.
Right.
And I did do what you're talking about. I did a couple of sessions, and the first one was an inner child hypnotherapy. And that one I felt lighter leaving that one. And
Right.
so then I went back for like the next level and thinking it was going to be this one thing, and ended up being something else, this past life hypnotherapy thing. And I came out of it disappointed, honestly. And I felt, okay, so wait, back up. So I'm in this session, and, the hypnotherapist,
Session 1, session 2.
this is my second session. And you go into like this
meditative state.
That's the best way. Like, you're still aware of your surroundings. It's almost like that moment between like deciding to go to sleep and then before you hit REM. It's like that sort of level. Like, you're aware of things, but your mind is just flowing. Like, your subconscious is flowing. And so he's guiding me. He has the training and is guiding me through these prompts. And so in this past life, I ended up being a young woman who was thought to be a witch. Hannah, me now.
That's funny. You said thought to be a witch.
Which
That's what you just said. Which me, Hannah.
Hannah, me now was like, oh my gosh, how stereotypical of like, of course, I was a witch in a past life. Like, it just feels like, a generic story.
Right.
And he's having me explain everything that I'm experiencing. And I'm in the community, and it's the moment that I'm being put to death. And I'm being burned at the stake, and I'm experiencing all of the emotions as if it's happening again for real. He's asking me, like, is there anybody, and it's a crowd, and they've led me to the center of this village, and I'm tied to a pole, and everybody, like, it's the energy. I can feel the energy of everything, and it's just hate and it's just so primal.
Vitriol.
It's vitriol. It's primal. It's just like think of the thing that I can equate it with that I have seen in my lifetime is like January 6th, Capitol riots. Just that primal, amygdala flipped, lower brained energy of just a crowd just putting all of their hate into an individual thing. And that individual thing was me. And so that's what I'm experiencing in this hypnotherapy session. But the therapist is wonderful, and you are experiencing the emotions and the feelings, but they are helping guide you through them. You're not just, it's very therapeutic, even despite the contents of it. And one of the questions he asks me, my dad was an energy in this scenario, and he was my dad in this situation, and there was some things with him. But then as my life is about to end, and he's like, is there anybody else in the crowd whose energy you recognize? And like, I'm scanning the crowd, and I feel Aaron, like actually like where you are right now. I feel Aaron, but it's not Aaron as I'm looking at him right now. It's like the essence of Aaron. And I can see him, and we can like talk telepathically. And you in this scene are heartbroken. You're like hiding in the background. We know each other, but you want to say something, but you don't want all of this to come after you. So you don't say anything, and you're just, you feel so guilty about it. but I'm comforting you in this moment. And I'm like, if you step forward and do anything, this is going to happen to you, and you're meant to keep going. So keep going. Don't worry about it. And I tell him, we'll try again in another life. And I'm just weeping, like as I'm in my session, just weeping. And I'm just saying, we'll try again in another life over and over again. So my session ends, and it was not the same like lightness that I felt. I mean, I do want to give my hypnotherapist credit. Like when you're in a therapeutic setting, it's your therapist's job to help bring things to
seal it up a little bit.
Yes, to seal it up as best as you can. And he did a wonderful job. This isn't like I would go back to him in a heartbeat.
Right.
This is all me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going through my own stuff, and I'm like,
wasn't a light topic.
yeah, but beyond that, it was like, I had told myself in my deconstruction that I did not want to go back into any sort of fundamentalist structure. Like, I didn't want to get fooled because I knew how vulnerable I was. Like, my entire foundation was out from under me. And so I was aware of how easy it would be for me to just bring something back in. Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'm not Christian anymore. Let's become a Buddhist.
Right.
Let's, look at another religion. I didn't want to do that. And I also didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be manipulated, because that's a huge wound of mine. And I left this being like, you got manipulated. Not by my therapist.
Yeah, no, I know.
But by
the world, the whole thing, the system,
the universe,
yeah.
the universe. Like, golly, I felt duped, and I felt so stupid, and like I just made all that up. I just made a fool of myself, and so I come home, and I'm like feeling these feelings,
which is hours away, right? Like you go 4 hours away for this. And so by the time you're home, I haven't seen you in a couple of days. I'm ready to see you. I'm excited. And of course I'm like, hey babe, tell me about it.
And I was like, beyond like not wanting to tell you because I was like ashamed, I also felt like I felt my guides, my whatever we want to call that inner knowing, that inner voice say, Aaron, you can't hear this right now. Like, keep your mouth shut. Do not talk to him about this. And I remember I was in the bathtub, and you came in, and you're like, hey, whenever you're ready to talk about it, I'm here. And I was like, thank you so much. I'm not ready to talk about it yet. It was great.
Right. Which is hard.
Yeah.
Because that's not really us.
No. I had like a big thing happen. I want to tell you about it. But it was just like, keep your mouth shut, Hannah. Do not tell him. And I didn't tell you.
You did not.
But in the tub that night, I was like praying to the universe, talking to the universe, saying, you need to give me something, because I feel like an absolute lunatic right now. And I like kind of hating myself, and was like,
I'm so tender towards you.
I was like, you got to give me something. Oh, Tinder. And so I'm just like, all right. So I feel all of this in my body for the next couple of days. I'm like moving through it, and I'm having the feelings, but I'm fairly healthy about it. And then I don't remember how I wrote about it. We looked it up. How much
later.
longer?
It was like 4 or 5 days.
It was, yeah. You were like looking at me, just like we were in our room.
I'll say this part.
Okay.
Like, and then you can take over after I say. Okay, so like it was about 4 or 5 days later, and we were in our room. We had kind of the vibe set. Like the energy was really light, and
Just having like a good connection time.
And I just looked at you and I said, I'm sorry I let you die.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
And then I said it again. I'm sorry I let you die.
But when you said that, I was like, I knew. I was like, I knew. Like that the voice dropped down and was like, you asked for this.
You asked for confirmation.
You asked for something. Here's the something. And I was like,
you're like, you're like, stay with it, right? You were like telling me to stay with it.
I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
And then you were like, I feel like in your past life, I let you die. And I was like, okay, this is going to sound really weird. You're feeling something and I need you to close your eyes.
And stay with it, yeah.
And I need you to stay with it. And I need you to tap into your senses. And I need you to tell me everything that you were experiencing right now. And so you did.
And what are some things that I said, for example? Because you remember actually what I said here better than I do.
You were like, you are being accused of being a witch and you are being burned at the stake. And I am there. And I am watching it. And I really want to do something about it, but I can't. And I was like, where are you in the scene? Like, that was really important to me. Mm-hmm. Because in my scenario, you were in a specific spot in the crowd.
Right, like you said right now. Like,
yeah, but it was like further off in the distance.
Yeah.
Like you were behind everybody, but that
right.
was, yes, you were to my right, like over here. And you were like, I am watching you. And it was the opposite. It was exactly how it should be from your perspective. So I'm like right here.
Yeah.
And I'm hiding behind everybody because I don't want to get caught. I don't want to be seen. And I am letting this happen to you. And so then you were like, okay. So you were confirming everything. Like,
yeah, and I have my eyes shut, like
the whole scene. And then you said, oh my God. You said, we'll try again in another life. And I'm like, that's what I said. Like, I'm getting emotional about it.
Yeah, me too.
And so I was like, well, I got my sign.
And then you said, this is the moment. Because at this point, right, I don't know that you have a sign. I feel like I'm crazy. And you said, that is exactly what my session was about. And I said, shut the up.
And
you're like, no, seriously, I have it recorded. Let's go
listen to it. And we sat and we listened to my hypnotherapy session. And it was everything that he said, but from his it was everything I said, but it was from your perspective. We'll try again in another life.
So soon after that, I thought that would be a good idea to get us a tattoo.
Yeah. So we sat on it for a little while, didn't we?
We didn't get it for a while.
So we ended up taking a family trip to Greece.
Yeah.
At the end of 2023. And we're like, let's go get a tattoo in Greece. So we not only have the memory of what the actual tattoo is, we got the tattoo in Greece. In Greek, it's Semia alajui, which means in another life in Greek. And we confirmed with several Greek people that
including our tattoo artist.
Our tattoo artist, our tour guide, several Greek people. So yeah, that's our couple's tattoo. So just
that was my first tattoo.
That was your first tattoo, and a reminder that you and me, man, you and me, we were meant to find each other in this life.
That's right.
And do a podcast together.
These are dinner conversations.
Right.
You know what's funny is like we call this after the dishes can wait. You know, like we have told this story over dinner several times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like this didn't feel any different right now.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know if I've said the part about like I still have a very clear image of it in my head before out loud to you, but
Do you see me as Hannah, or is it kind of how I saw you? It was like your essence. Is it my essence?
it's more of like your essence. Like
Yeah.
it's not like I see you as a redhead, but I couldn't describe what you look like really.
Yeah, I couldn't describe you. I just knew it was you.
Right.
That's wild.
It is wild. Like, because right now I'm saying it's you, but that's not what I saw, but that's what I saw, right? So like,
Yeah.
like I saw you, but not you. Like,
Which is like a whole, and this is where we get into stuff about, to me, the soul and your spirit. And like, there are things that are intrinsic about you, Aaron, outside of the nature versus nurture discussion. That's outside of the nurture part. That is like your nature. And to me, I feel like that's like our soul essence. And there is something.
well, that might be a whole nother thing though.
I know. That's also like, have you ever met someone and maybe you meet them for the first time and you're like, I know you. I feel like I know you. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, but I wouldn't
Like,
call that nature, right? Because nature,
Yeah,
you're
no,
thinking
you're right, you're right.
biology.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's like,
You're thinking more spirituality.
yeah. No, you're right.
So there's like nature, there's nurture, and then there's essence, you know? Or
Yeah, it's not nature. It's something like,
It's the goo.
oh my God. Which is also what this whole hypnotherapy stuff was about, which is what the work that Michael Newton did across the span of his life and the books that he's written. So I'll put all the links in places. So that's your first tattoo. How many tattoos do you have now, Aaron?
I mean, that's a hard question to answer. Do we count?
Right.
You know
do
what
you
I
count
mean?
sessions or do you count actual pieces?
Normally, I would tell people pieces, but if they have one piece that covers their whole body,
Yeah, I have
it's
one
hard to
tattoo.
say if that's one tattoo.
Right.
I would say that I have 5 or 6, depending on how many you count one of them as. I'm going to say 6.
Okay. Which I started before you, and you've already passed me up on real estate and count.
On real estate?
Yes.
On real estate. I mean, it's right there. It's so tiny.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my house. It's very tiny.
Yeah. No, come on. Show them off.
So, all of my tattoos.
Go ahead and take your shirt off.
I'm not going to do that. All of my tattoos have very significant stories behind them. I don't know if we have time to go into all of them at this point, but I will say this, because, so I got this one here. Hannah's got hers there.
Yeah, I can go in. We can just
And
give
so
like an overview.
as we lay there, they're right next to each other because you lay on my
Oh
left
yeah,
side
we got them on. He got them on his
on opposite arms.
because that's how we sleep in bed.
And so
we can hold hands because we're super romantic.
right. So what I was going to say is that's the very first one. And I ended up getting several others, like I just mentioned, and they're all on. So like I've kind of dedicated this one almost to like you, right? It's like our relationship, you and me on my left arm. The right arm is me, and then I have the kids on each leg as of right now. So
What are the kids?
the kids are their birth footprints. And so I have one footprint on each calf, and which is just special to me because our kids are adopted, and that footprint was taken before we even met them. And so just the idea that they're my kids and I loved them and I've chose them and all of that even before I knew them. And so, so that's the kids. That's all that's there right now for them. So those are actually the ones that are the most visible to people because like if I'm in shorts, my other ones are above my elbow on both arms. And so those don't get seen as often. I'm not necessarily trying to hide all of this. I just started on the
weird.
shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So
My next ones were I got a tattoo from the book of Joshua that says, "Be strong and courageous." And then I started deconstructing my faith and understanding more about the Old Testament. And then I started seeing Be Bold and Courageous. So at this moment in the Old Testament, they're about to go slaughter an entire people group. And I was like, that's all I can see now. And I gave it some time. I was like, maybe I could readjust. And I couldn't. I was like, this is all I see. Even though like this doesn't need to mean that exactly. That's why I got it. So I got it covered up with
Sort of.
I know you can still, it still peeks through with the Milky Way. And it reminds me
the whole Milky Way.
It reminds me of when we were in Glacier National Park and we set an alarm to get up in the middle of the night to go look at the sky. And so that's what that tattoo reminds me of. And then my last one was about a year and a half ago.
You just have 4, huh?
Well, I count.
Oh, 5.
this
Yeah,
as
4 and 5.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Is a teacup that I got when I was in London. And it reminds me of, because I already said how much I love London, and you made me pick between London and New York, and I cried and I picked London because it's just special. It's so special to me, which could be like a soul thing. Maybe there's a past life where I'm connected to London. I don't know. But I got this English teacup.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Little lipstick
when
on
I
it
went to London a couple of years ago, at the end of 2024, by myself, and it has little red lipstick on it because I went to see the musical Kiss Me Kate at the Barbican, and I love that musical. And my nickname that made me feel really loved growing up was Kate, after Kate from Kiss Me Kate, which there is some things to say about, like, she's like untamable, and maybe it was a slight, but it made me feel loved at the time. And so I got the little red lipstick on the edge of the teacup. That reminds me of getting to go to London and see that show, and also a little thing that did make me feel loved as a kid. And also I did a lot of inner child work too while I was on that trip. So it's really precious.
Love it. That was the icebreaker.
That was right. One whole episode later.
Should we do a sack of something?
We should do a sack of something. Okay, so we're going to pull a question.
I think it should be the third one that you touch.
A sack of something.
The third one that you touch.
1.
Yep.
2.
Oh, my hip just popped.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
I thought it was the chair.
That was my hip.
Oh, dang, dude. Okay,
Third one.
here's
That's
the
the
third
one. That's the winner chicken dinner. What is one piece of art that you enjoy?
Ooh.
You're like, are you sure it's the third one? That's what I was feeling.
Are you lying to yourself about anything?
That's hilarious. That's what the question says.
I'm glitching.
That's what the question says. Are you
Because
lying?
I ask myself this all the time. Are you lying to yourself about anything? Like, this is...
You said I'm glitching. I ask that all the time too. Like, we're trying to grow in self-awareness, and
Right.
so this idea of growing in self-awareness, there's often times where I'm probably lying, but I'm not trying to
I'm
lie.
not trying to. It's
and if
just-
I am lying, I'm trying to grow on it.
It's
and-
self-protection.
Exactly. So, what a tough one, man. Like, this would have been like, and if, I mean, can you imagine like if there was like a really big one that we've been lying to ourselves, and now the moment we're gonna
Right.
expose it?
Actually, I've been
You
lying
like-
to myself. I don't even have an example. Like,
I mean, people will be like, actually, I'm not happy.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
You're like,
I actually
We're-
don't enjoy doing this podcast with you
we're
at all,
we're
and I've just
recording
been
right
telling
now,
myself I
and
do.
this is the time that you wanted to drop that bomb. Is it?
The dishes actually can't wait. Like, I don't know. I just keep telling
Okay.
myself they can wait. I'm
This is
trying
a-
so hard.
This is a really deep question, and we're making jokes about it.
I think we address the deepness immediately, though.
Because I I ask myself this all the time. Am I lying? Am I lying to myself about the, like,
I think this is a healing question. Like I don't like that it's in the sack, right? I don't like it's in the sack because to me, this idea of lying to yourself on something, I'm not trying to get into this shameful, we're not worthy, we're not, but that's a lot of times I think some of the lies, like, man, can I really do this? Like, can't do this, or I'm no good. And like, I don't think it's that. So to me, like, I question that all the time, but to me, I have to push through that. I'm not trying to be dishonest with myself. One of my favorite quotes, I think I've mentioned that before, actually. I'm trying to see if I can get the exact quote without having to paraphrase it. But we're going to go this is really close. It is that integrity largely has to do with a growing honesty about our motives and a purification of our intentions, something along those lines. Like,
can you say it again?
Man, let me just look it up real fast. Man, I was pretty close. Okay. It is integrity largely has to do with purifying our intentions and a growing honesty about our actual motives. I might have flipped them around, but
our
integrity largely has to do with purifying our intentions and a growing honesty about our actual motives. And so I say that because
Who is that from?
It's Richard Rohr. So I say that because this idea of lying to myself, I am really trying to ask myself hard, deep questions and come to this piece of it, right? What are my actual motives? Like, one of the questions I sometimes challenge couples with, because it's one that I challenged myself with for a while, not from a shame standpoint or a debilitating standpoint, but was, would I continue to love you and pour into you the same way I do if you never noticed? If you never had a clue I was doing it, right? So I'm trying to grow honest, but I don't want to go, well, if she never notices, I'm not to debilitate myself, but this is all about intentions and motivation. Are you loving people just to get love in return? Are you doing it for the accolades? Or, why are you doing it? And so the idea of trying to be honest with myself, trying to be transparent, trying to grow the self journey, I think that's going to be a lifelong journey. And so there lies that I'm telling myself? I'm sure there are, right? But I'm also trying to grow through them. That's why I say I don't like the question, because I'm not like trying to be deceptive. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to push through that.
And sometimes you don't notice until after you do it. This is, okay, me. I'm speaking for me. I can convince myself that I have the right motives, because there is a pattern that and it's all from a wound. Like, I know cognitively what it is. And I recognize it when it's happening. And I'm like, am I acting from this wound, or am I really being authentic here? And I mean, I'm being authentic. I'm not going to be fake, but it's just the slightest bit of like ulterior motive.
Sure. Which will be there.
And I can
purifying it.
And I can say, no, I genuinely do not think that I have any ulterior motive, it's always from a place of authenticity.
Sure.
But it's the ulterior motive part. And sometimes I don't recognize it until I am in hindsight.
Right.
And I realize that I'm not getting the reaction that I wanted. And then I'm like, crap.
Right. See,
There
I've seen
was
that.
an ulterior motive. But then I'm like,
Don't beat yourself up
I
over
can't
that.
dwell in shame, because you can't move forward when you are in the middle of shame. Shame halts any sort of progression.
Right. Plus, you had to have that self-awareness, or maybe had to have the question asked in order to know that. Like, another example would be like, there's been times where you would say something to me like, hey, did you mean that to be sarcastic? Right. And like, sometimes I have to think about it, because I'm like, well, I didn't feel like I did, but like, it does kind of sound sarcastic. Was I trying to be sarcastic? Was I trying to be passive aggressive there? Like, it's as an example. Like, so my default is like, no, I wasn't trying to be passive aggressive at all. But then you say it and I'm going, well, I kind of sense maybe there's a 5%
Maybe
that I was.
there's a little
you know, like,
tiny thing that's still like hopeful. Like for me, it's a hope. It's like the thing that I'm thinking of specifically. I'm holding on to a little bit of hope rather than just putting whatever I feel I need to put out into the universe and releasing it.
Right. And there's been times where, like, I'm going to use the same example I just did, like where I go, no, but there's a world that was for me, right? That exact same thing was that. And then so I'm going, I wasn't right now, but I'm trying to be honest about my intentions, but my motives, and like, so that's why I'm saying I'm trying to be free of that as well and trying to go, okay, how do I grow into the healthiest version of myself? Healthiest is a hard phrase. I just want to continue to grow and love deeper, right?
Yeah. And this is
I'm not trying to intentionally lie to myself over and over and over and over again.
It's part of being human. Part of being an emotionally healthy human is that we're always examining.
Yeah, I mean,
and not in a place where from it, like as if we're operating from a deficit where we think we're always having to do shadow work. You can't do shadow work your entire life. You also have to live in the light at some point.
Live in the sun.
And so it's
that
like
was quotable.
I didn't know what that was.
No, you just saying like you can't just live in shadow work all the time. You sometimes have to live in the sun. Like that's quotable.
Oh, but you also, part of that being an emotionally healthy person is doing the work when it comes up, because we are human and healing is a lifelong journey, and
right.
It's
so
complicated.
I want to make that a little more nuanced for some listeners out there as well, right?
Okay.
Are you lying to yourself? Because sometimes people are, right? Maybe they're in a career that's not life-giving and they need to realize that, and instead of saying that like, well, it's worth it because it's money, maybe it's not. Maybe that's a lie they're telling themselves.
Or a relationship.
Or
friendship,
right? Or a friendship, all of the above. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good question, but also don't live in the debilitating aspects of it. But also don't be afraid to ask hard questions. I think that's where I'm going with that as well. Like, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
What?
I just have so many thoughts. But, I mean, maybe we'll unpack this over time in the future. Maybe it'll come up. That's what I love. Okay. The last thing. We'll say this is the last thing. That's something.
I might have something else after this.
Okay, that's cool.
Because maybe I want to have the last word.
Then that's something you need to work on inside of you. Is something that I love about what we do here, what we are doing here with this podcast, with this project, and is that that's not the end of this question. Like, if 10 episodes from now, we might be talking about something, and we're like, it's like when we pulled that question out of the sack of something, are you lying to yourself?
Right.
Here's how that ties into this conversation. And it's that it's constantly all intertwined and interconnected. And I love that.
Yeah. So like even childhood wounds are sometimes lies that we've believed. Right? Like you and I even had that conversation.
I mean,
last night.
that's the whole root of the thing that I lie to myself about is a wound.
Right.
From childhood.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like a lot of those are things that we may have, I'm too much. I'm not enough. I'm right. Like all of those sort of things. Like I'm not lovable. I have to be perfect. These are all like
my wounds. You're saying all of my wounds.
I'm just naming common wounds. You're like, I
don't have any needs. I'm self-sufficient.
My voice,
I can do everything myself.
My voice doesn't matter.
I don't need anybody because I don't want to take up space.
Right.
Is what.
So these are lies and things that we have to have, that we get to step into healing with as well.
Yeah. Right.
So, amen.
No.
Do you want to pray us out?
Don't end this podcast with amen.
Amen. I'm hoping that, just back to the beginning when I had those intentions, that this podcast lands where it needs to with people able to find hope, find levity, even if it's not through like a hypnotherapy conversation or through tattoos, because tattoos aren't for everybody. I recognize that. That's not us saying that everybody needs to go get a tattoo, right? For us, they're like a display and a canvas of our life and our world and things that we want to represent. But that's not you, and so. But I do think we need to find ways to represent ourselves. right? And
Yeah, it doesn't
do we,
have to be a tattoo.
right. How do we want to represent ourselves? And so hopefully that can be a takeaway, as well as like how do we express ourselves to the world? So
In a way that is authentic to who you are.
yeah. And are there questions you need to ask yourselves, like about the lying to yourself? Is there some more healing that we have to do?
If you want to leave the answer to that on Substack, you're welcome to. You can also talk about it with your therapist in private.
You can also answer if you find it out, like what is the meaning of life?
Just drop it in the comments. Leave us a note. Send us a DM. Let us know
Much love.
the meaning of life.
The dishes can wait, but good conversation cannot.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for being here and listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, follow the show and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify so you never miss an episode. You can also join the conversation and subscribe to our Substack or follow us on social media. You can find all those links and everything we're up to at thedishescanwait.com. We'll see you next time on the Dishes Can Wait podcast.